Alright, is that going through? Yeah. Okay, looks like YouTube is up, and we've got a Twitch. Majma, hi everyone. Things are a little bit different today, as you can probably tell by the upper right-hand corner. I need to fix that. That's what I get for not fully testing the new overlay stuff. That is too big of text for the chat box. Man, starting off with scuff, but I can't say I'm surprised. Let's see if I can quickly do something about that before we get into things. But I did end up changing the chat box and the alert system for this stream. If it works well, I'll keep it for the next ones too. But the goal with changing that is to get it to be less obtrusive? This word? Like, because if you noticed with my previous alerts, they took up, like, the bottom portion, like a significant portion of the bottom of the screen, and had the loud noise, and then also had the thing where it would trigger all of the YouTube subscribers between the streams. And that felt very, very kind of intrusive for it. So hopefully with this change, it'll be easier to keep up with, but also not as interrupting. Man, come on, where is the font size in this? Let's try that. If I hit that and then we do a quick just test. Is that better? Yeah, there we go. That's a bit better. Let me know if that's too small. I'll see what I can do about it. But luckily it's pretty easy to change those things on the fly. Yeah, today's stream is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to be going over kind of what all has happened with Haywen SMP, which is, for anyone who doesn't know, one of the projects that started me on streaming in general. Because some of the first streams I did, and some of the earliest content on my YouTube page, is working on playable species for Haywen SMP. So this has been a project that has been since day one of my streaming journey, essentially. And unfortunately, Season 2, as we planned it, doesn't look like it's feasible. It's just not going to happen as it is. And you can see we got pretty far in the planning stage, given that there is an entire world of, like, spawn built behind me. And we will be going through some of that and showing you some of the lore that isn't going to be happening. That's not to say that Haywen itself is fully complete. We're still kind of in the planning and figuring out what we want for the future stage of that. But as Haywen Cogs and Paws stands, which is the mod pack we created for this, and the world, neither of those will be used. Those are both too... There are too many issues and stuff going on with it. And I plan on giving, like, a kind of closer breakdown of what all happened a little bit later in the stream, because I do want to give people a bit of time to trickle in, which is why I'm just kind of giving the summary up front. But this is definitely not a decision I made alone, though it was one that I kind of made the final call on. This was something that we talked about with the full admin team of Haywen SMP. And hi Sparkle, how are you? So, it'll be interesting to show you kind of what our process was and what happened. I'm kind of hoping that this will help me parse through it myself even, because as I said, this was 4 years, essentially, of my life working on this. And Season 1 is still out there. You can go watch Season 1. I don't know if I recommend doing it. We definitely learned a lot since then, but it's still an interesting thing to go see and see just how much crazy stuff we got into. Because I know Season 1 proper was our first attempt at a mod pack, and that was mainly put together by Net. I was mainly the one working on the origins and doing builds, that kind of thing. Heck, I had created data packs for it as well. There was actually one, like, there were a couple of major ones that I did. There was a scene in Season 1 where, no, that was in Season 1.5. Well, I'm forgetting things. The scene in Season 1.5 where I got my god powers back in the lore, and I ended up coding a pretty, like, it wasn't too crazy once you know how it works, but a pretty crazy mod pack for just, or not mod pack, data pack for just what it should have been probably, of a super crazy effect that everyone could see of the god powers returning. And that one, though a bit out of the ordinary, was not something that was unusual for the kind of work that I was doing behind the scenes on that one, because I did that scene as well as some ritual effects in Season 1.5, and the boss battle was a very weird situation as well, because on that one we ended up saying, screw the Ender Dragon, essentially. We want our own end boss fight thing going on. And this was in a Origins only style data pack, essentially. It was just vanilla plus with Origins. And so in the span of 2 days, I coded a 3-part boss fight that included multiple Ender Dragons and some, like, towers they had to shoot down and stuff. And the real shame is that none of that got on my channel. None of that boss fight made it on mine, because I was off somewhere in the end. I was expecting them to, like, struggle a bit and have to call me in. No, they took care of it themselves. Heck, the Novixa, who was one of the admin team at the time, ended up having to beef up the boss fight while it was going to make it more of a challenge. So, Haywen as a whole has always been a little bit of a chaotic cluster. I don't think it would have happened any other way, though. I do think Haywen kind of was its own thing, and who knows what it'll turn into. But I think that's probably enough about me talking about Season 1 and Season 1.5, and I should probably get to talking about what Season 2 was supposed to be, because it's definitely not going to be this anymore. So, let me move to the side. There we go. And then, if I kind of zoom out, there's build over there, builds over here. You can see just the kind of scale of this spawn that we had. And all of these have interiors, by the way. They don't all have the best interiors, but every one of these builds have interiors. And this was all meant to be a essentially abandoned town that we spawn in. And you can see, like over here, hang on, let me drop down. This is kind of a good example of how it's ruined and overgrown, where you can tell from the get-go something isn't quite right. Which was going to be a really interesting way of dragging us in, because from Season 1.5, as it ended, it looked like we had to sacrifice one of our friends in order to get out of a dying world, essentially. So moving out of that dying world into what looks like another dying world was going to be a really interesting concept. And I was really looking forward to that. But unfortunately, with the mod pack and how unstable it is, it's just not feasible. Let's see, where do I even want to start with this, since there's so many? Let's start with actually No, I'll save the tower for a little bit, because the tower is one of the major lore pieces, since I'm sure you can tell, this is a very different style to the rest of the town, and is one of the few things that, aside from the lawn outside, looks maintained. Because I think, if we pop into Chariot over here, you can see this is kind of a ruined place. There's cobwebs, there's all kinds of issues with it. But then if we pop into the actual tower over here, and I'm just going to give you a peek, we're going to come back to this later. This is very clean. Oh man, that's one of the other things. Just all of the times the paintings have broken this. But yeah, you can see this is a very, very different style place. No overgrowth. It is very tidy and stuff, and has Protec signs. Which, I suppose I should probably explain what Protec is a little bit, since it's so integral to what this world lore was going to be. Because if you notice, we have a theater with full-on, like, movie posters on it. And I will admit, these were done with AI a little bit, but that was intentional, given that Protec Pictures as a company was, like, in our lore using AI. So it was kind of this weird gray area. I'm still not sure how I fully feel about it. I think for what we were aiming for, it was the right call, but it does also still feel a little bit odd. I think since it's such a small part of this bigger thing, it's probably fine, but I'm sure someone's going to be upset that we used AI at all. I feel like I've tangented on that as well. Yeah, feel free to ask questions, guys, as well, if you have anything you're curious about. I'm sure this is going to be basically 3 hours of me rambling at this point. So many things to go over. I really should have thought better about where to start. You know what? Let's start at the other side of town. We'll go from this side and then work our way, like, right to left kind of thing. I will touch on this building over here. This was actually going to be one of the players who already existed in this world's home bases. So we gave them express permission to play survival on this world ahead of time and kind of get a little bit established into this place, since they were supposed to be a already existing resident of this world. They were a new player to Haywen SMP, and we thought this would be a really cool way of introducing them into it. And that was actually Victory's place. So I think I'll give it a quick flyover. I don't know why there's a horse inside. Oh, wait, no, that's a mule from one of the wandering traders. I don't know if that was intentional or not. I don't know whether they meant to drag a mule in there, but there is a mule in there. And then you can see with some of the lights and stuff, those are the same as the light posts somewhere around town. So they literally just yoinked those from spawn build, which was kind of a funny way of doing a bit of storytelling. Oh, there's a second one up there. I guess it wasn't intentional then. Unless they really wanted to. But then we'll fly over here to one of the ports. And this is a good example, actually, of some of the really minor, tiny bits of storytelling that I like to put in the builds. Because, for the most part, this just looks like a port with a random banner on it. But if we go over to this barrel over here... I got wet. You can see there's a whole bunch of banners here, with a whole bunch of letters. Because this is actually using flag code. And you can see the banner that is up there is J. So that was supposed to kind of give people a hint for what was going on in the world, since having that flag up specifically does have a specific meaning to it. And scattered throughout the libraries in this world, there is actually a book that says what that code means. So it's kind of a way of rewarding exploration while still keeping it minor enough that you could just walk right past this and not care. And I don't know whether people would have walked past it or not. That's kind of one of those things of, it would have been nice, but since this isn't going to be an actual played world, I'll never know, which is one of the sad parts. And hi, Gold. We're going through explaining some of the lore, builds, and stuff behind the scrapped Season 2 world for Haywen SMP. Yeah, so this place is just kind of chained off. Then you follow up the overgrown road, and you get to this ruined kind of factory building. And hi, Moon! Thank you for casting cuteness. Oh, man, I still need to fix that chat, don't I? I'll just leave it for today. I'll work on fixing it for tomorrow. Not tomorrow, for the Tuesday stream. That will be the debut of the new model. Yeah, this factory was actually one of the ones that was done by one of the other people on the Haywen SMP group. I believe Aki was the one that did this one. And this was meant to be one that was already abandoned long before the town was. Yes, I am excited for new model. So, one of the funny parts of this one is there's like graffiti and stuff. I think most of the graffiti's gone for some reason. But there's like stuff painted on the walls, and you can see it kind of falling apart. But it is a cool place. It was meant to be just a place people would go and hang out. Essentially, like all of the teenagers with nowhere better to go would just hide in here. And then if we carry on, oh, bit of lag there. Hopefully stuff doesn't crash, but if it does, you'll see why this is not getting used, essentially. Our next build was actually the garage that I made, because one of the mods that we had was hang on, I'm just gonna crawl through here. Was an automobile mod. So if I, menu? Inventory? Okay, there we go. There it is. So yeah, we had all of these cars that you could make in the mod pack. And I'll just throw down a tractor for an example. But all of these were like fully drivable. You could get on them. We had plans to eventually make a go-kart race and stuff, and that's one of the reasons why the town has such established roads, was to help encourage that type thing. So it would have been interesting to race around town and such. I am very confused on what you're saying, Gold. Oh, this is another kind of little detail that you'll see scattered throughout the world. One of the weird things with Season 2's development taking so long, because it took over a year at this point, was that we had to establish what was the season that the world was abandoned in, that this world specifically was abandoned in. So we decided that it was like just before Christmas time was when whatever happened to this world happened. So you'll see a whole bunch of like little Christmas decorations scattered about because people didn't have time to take them down. Stuff happened before they could. So you'll see a lot of little wreaths and things like that scattered around. Christmas trees in apartments and stuff like that. But there's just a lot of places around here. I think this one specifically didn't have too much in the way of overarching lore. It was more one of those builds used to showcase a mod type thing. Because there are a couple of those around here. But it's still a nice way of fleshing out the city. Because this is pretty big city. And then the one next to it over here, this apartment, well, this building was actually split into two sections. You've got the lower floor here, accessible from this side of the street, and the upper floor that we'll see when we're on the other side of the street. But the lower section here is a nice carpenter's place, which is, yet again, another, like, mod showcase style one. Because these chairs and stuff are part of, what mod are they part of? Handcrafted. So it's kind of a way of showing some of the different handcrafted wood types and things like that. And if you pop back here, you can see this is probably where they were working on stuff. It's unclear whether this bed was just for when they worked themselves, or if it was something that they were working on. No one quite knows. All of these builds typically have like some kind of bathroom and light fixture in it. So this build was pretty nice. And then around this side, we have a bunch more townhouses. And if I remember correctly, these 3 were decorated by Haru, and then the 3 on the left were decorated by me. So we'll start with Haru's. I'm more or less going to give them just a run through and anything I remember of them, but I don't quite know the full lore of who was supposed to live in these, since they were made by Haru, or were decorated by Haru. But that there is... there is a cute little guy there. And one of the funny things was all of these windows are actually doors, so you can just leave through the windows if you really wanted to. That's why the front doors and windows look the same on these builds. But it is a cute little thing. Oh, this one's actually one I might have decorated. I remember working on this one with Squee, because this was supposed to be a magician researcher type guy, as you could tell by the littered amount of coffee cups and massive amount of books. And I think this one, yeah, right here is another good example of some of the just random lore that we placed around. Squee, thanks for the sub. But yeah, so you can see this book is more or less just his ramblings about losing his mugs and stuff. But there is, yes, about the mug, or the mug stealing gnomes. I'm struggling there. I think one of the funniest bits, though, is this guy is not entirely crazy. Because if you look at this page specifically, it talks about there being an elephant in the theater sign. Which, if we go look at the theater sign, hang on, let me at least put a copy of this book back. Yeah, you forgot that you wrote a lot of pages of that. That's the theater sign, essentially. So this, one sec. Deny that. This is the sign, and this was a sign that we specifically designed to where the right light on it would flicker. So if I go into spectator mode, you can see how we managed that. Game mode, spectator. If I fly up here and we kind of take a peek into the sign, you can see there is legitimately an elephant in this sign. And that is how we controlled whether that light is randomly on or off. And this is one of my favorite stupid little details. Because elephants are supposed to be a whole lot larger than that, but this is an adorable tiny little mod that we have in here. I forget what mod this entity actually came from. But it was... I could have used a chicken, but I think they were too loud, which is why I went with elephant, which wasn't making much noise. And so it was just really funny to add that little bit of actual, information into the world through a random lore book. Because it does not matter at all. It makes no change to anything. But if someone finds that book and then breaks into that sign to check, he's correct. And I don't think we had that guy give any further information, did we? The last page, did I miss something on that? Game mode creative. Because I thought it was only 4 pages. Did I misread that? Yeah, it was only 4 pages. Yeah, because it was the just raving about the elephant in the theater sign. Yeah, and then if we look... Oh, page 3 then? Yeah, let me go back to page 3 so that people can see it a bit more. Yeah, it was just all about the gnomes wanting to steal his mugs. When really, this guy just misplaces his mugs everywhere. There are mugs littering his apartment. Because there's mugs on that table, there's a mug over here, I believe there's a mug. Yeah, there's a mug out here, and then if we go upstairs even... Actually, wait, I think also, this drawer... No, that had a luck rune. I know one of his drawers had a mug in it somewhere. Yeah, so just more books there, kitchen there. And then, this was kind of a cute thing. We wanted to have a little place for him to grow stuff. I believe these pots had flowers in them before, but this is another thing of just stuff breaks. We might have a gnome somewhere. I don't entirely remember. I know we have gnomes that are placeable. Yeah, there's another mug there. And there's the mug in the nightstand. I knew we had one somewhere. And then... Oh, I didn't show this on the other apartment, but all of the apartments have the same kind of bathroom. Where it's just a very tight place. And then... Next apartment. This one was another one done by Haru. I don't entirely know what the vibe for this one was other than overgrown. I think Haru likes overgrown, but that makes sense as they're a fairy. They're just... Oh, I think the mushrooms spread. I don't think that was intentional, I'm realizing. Because I don't remember this many mushrooms previously. But that's... I also didn't notice that this has particles when you walk on it. See, I'm finding out new things about this mod pack even while I'm showing it off. And then up here, just more overgrown. Is there anything in this box? No, they didn't put anything in the ring box. We'll just go out this window over here. I'm too lazy to go all the way down. This one is a fun apartment. This is another one I did. This person is a person who likes to host social gatherings of a certain kind. And I'm not going to say what kind, because this is one of the ones where it was kind of more of an inside joke than anything else. Where it's world lore that don't know if we'll fully say. But you can see that they're very into, like, romantic kinds of movies. This was actually supposed to be a poster for the theater as well. But I decided against doing that there, since we just had other posters that worked better. And also, thank you for the sub, Linda Root. And then the next place we have, this one was more someone who was just moving in to kind of show that things were changing in the city. Life wasn't just static. So it's basically just a lot of boxes everywhere. Though these boxes did actually have loot in them for people to find. Because I tried to make sure every place had some story it was telling with the items that you found there. So it was definitely very interesting to kind of flesh out and fill in the different world placement. This one was another fun one I liked. I really liked the family that lived here. Because this was a single mother and a child living in this place. So you can see kind of how they had it lay out. There's the Christmas tree that I mentioned, kind of thing of places decorating for Christmas. And then, I believe I said the childlike photography. So there was camera and stuff here. They weren't the only one. There was someone else in this town that I used as the showcase for this camera setup. Because this was a actual camera you could use to take pictures in the game and develop the film. That was something that Net was super into and wanted to use for it. Oh, this is another piece as well that was interesting, because this student ID was actually for the tower, and this was one of the ways that we encouraged exploring the town while keeping it lore relevant, because the tower, as it starts, is locked down. You cannot access the elevator, and you had to go around and find, essentially, ID cards to unlock different parts of the tower. And so the student ID was used to unlock the school section of the tower, which I will show you guys later. So that kind of Alexa, stop. Okay. That was used to show, or used to encourage exploration, I guess. Oh, that was probably a bad place to put that, I'm realizing, since you had to put cake dough on top of it. But luckily that doesn't matter now. This one is kind of an interesting way of separating the single bedroom into two. Since they're on the side of the building, they have extra window here. Now the question is, do we want to loop around this way, or do we want to go to the next block? I think we'll loop around this way first, because I did talk about some of the other sections here. So on this one we have just nice little cafe. I believe this interior was done by Deswin. He put a cute little plushy section here, and it was just kind of meant to be a full cafe setup. One of the problems that we had with these chairs a lot was hostile mobs would spawn in here and then sit in the chairs and never despawn. I've currently got it set to peaceful, so you don't see that. But it was one of those weird quirks of all of these places could possibly have hostiles that you would have to take care of to continue exploring, which was one of the fun ways that we kept the challenge in it. And then upstairs here, you have the two different upstairs. This one was supposed to be a law office. And this was actually for a law firm held by one of the gods that was in this world before us, which was kind of an interesting thing, because I haven't touched on it much yet, but we did have full lore for what happened to this world that included 4 different gods. And let me actually double check something, because I want to make sure that I'm getting the name right. Bucket was one of the gods. Then you also had Hibiscus Petalgrove and Technobabble, who had another name that I'll also go over later. Where is my actual Haywen lore? We had a Google Doc of this, and I realized that I should have pulled this up before stream, but I'm going to do it now. That one. Nope. There. That one. No, that is old lore. That is season 1.5 lore. Oh, it would be under Haywen, not under that one. This one. Okay. So now I've got it up. We definitely had to keep a Google Doc to keep everything organized with this, with everything. Neum was the other one. So it was Bucket, Neum, Technobabble, Hibiscus Petalgrove, and then Connie Sequential was the other one. And there was actually one more god that was relevant to this world, which was Lady of the Abyss, but she had no direct impact on this. She was more a carryover from previous seasons that had influence, because why not? You can see these are all just kind of law offices. You've got bathroom here. And then there is another, I think I popped in, yeah, that's conference room and just meeting room here. If we pop over to, actually hang on, let me, yes, Squee is important in the lore. Squee knows the god Connie Sequential, which was a funny one. Let's switch to this one. Yeah, I've currently got the music playing that is from the previous world showcases, just because I thought it'd be fitting. Yes, I know you'll fight Connie Sequential. Yeah, this build is another interesting one, because it was designed to be a very specific kind of entertainment, I suppose is the word. But you've got their kitchen where they can make stuff here. And then down here is more of like a dining room for hosting events. And then you've got a karaoke type setup here. And then upstairs, you've got some other kind of bedroom setups for people who might want to spend a bit more time, if not the night here. I'm just not going to elaborate too much on that. It was meant to be a kind of gag for us to laugh at when we explored it on stream. And then this one is one that never fully got finished, because I meant to make a sign for this one, because this was supposed to be Bucket self-storage, which was not actually created by Bucket at all, but as Bucket is the god of holding, of course people of the world would be like, hey, we've got a storage center here, let's name it after the god of holding, because we're gonna hold your stuff for you. So that was always a funny bit in my mind. You've got the place where you can just talk to the people, get the keys kind of thing. They've got a thing to safely pass over stuff. And then if you head inside, you've got all of the actual units. And these actually belong to people in the town. This one is Hunter Fox's. And you can tell by the fox stuff. We'll see his apartment later, but he has more of the same kind of vibe, which is kind of how you're supposed to link some of these up. This one, I believe, belongs to one of the people that live in the white building with the red balconies. I kind of went overboard with figuring out what goes where, honestly. Then you've got the office, which this should... Yeah, you can see there's a whole bunch of keys in here. And there's one specific key, this master key, that opens up all of the smaller safes in this place. So you can actually get more loot from this place if you know to look in the front office first. And there's just a milk bottle in there. I swear there was supposed to be more in that fridge, but I don't quite remember. And then 202, I believe this one was supposed to be belonging to the guy who was raving about gnomes. This actually right here is... I thought that was an enchanting book, was it not? Yeah, so that is an enchanting book. That is somehow an enchanting book without an enchantment on it. That's an interesting quirk. I don't know whether that was actual existing issue, or, like, I don't know whether that was meant to be a just cool, hey, here's a enchantless enchanting book, or if that was something that happened with the moving it over to a single-player world. Who knows, though? Moving on to the... Oop, I didn't mean to take another book from that. Put that back. Moving on to the other sections. I don't think this one had a specific person in mind of it. That one was more just random clutter. It's got 3? I'm confused. Yeah, so these, you can see safe master key. Most of these are just random items. You're gonna need to explain more than cat. I don't know why there's a creeper head in here. I think that's just a random loot item. This one was to showcase more of the create stuff. And this was for showing you what goes into the cannon, which is a really cool mod. Ah, yes, I get it now. Okay. This one was just a silly one. There was no reason for putting that guy there other than wanting something in there. There were a couple empty ones. Apparently just mainly on that side. This was just way of reminding people that there was something down here, since if you noticed as we were moving around upstairs, the little sound thing kind of triggered. So like, it let you know that there was something down here. This one, I believe, is another empty one. Yeah. I think, yeah, this one's one of the interesting ones where it's just full of wine, because someone wanted to keep it there. I don't know whether that was going to be for the bar or not, but I don't think I needed to kind of show that. This is actually from the guy I was mentioning before that was supposed to show off the pictures. And he has a couple of these around his apartment too, so it kind of furthers the link between the different locations of this world. But these are all pictures that I have taken in this world. And I tried to pick places that had the same look as when the world was alive. So you don't see much run-down stuff here. This is all looking fairly normal. And one of the interesting things that I specifically like about how I've set this up is the fact that these pictures here, where you see the Protect Tower and these ones are higher up in the Protect Tower section, specifically the Protect Pictures floor of it, that tells you that this guy actually was working in Protect Pictures. He was part of the movie department, essentially, of Protect. So that was all intentional, and that's why he's able to take the pictures of the tower. And it also gives you a cute little look into the tower before you even unlock that section, because that one requires an employee ID, which was put in a specific place because the student IDs were scattered. There were only, I think, there was only one or two, I don't remember if it was one or two, employee IDs that had a bit more of a challenge to find them. That's another empty one. Random teddy bear in that one, and then empty one there. And then there was more upstairs as well, but I don't remember if there were many specific ones. I know there was one funny bit that we did, which was in, I believe, this one. Yeah. There is just a baby in the safe. And this was a way to get the Minecraft Comes Alive to be pulled back into the area a bit. Because I thought it would be absolutely hilarious if someone just through exploration found a child and adopted them. So that was kind of the thought process behind that. And this, I normally do not recommend putting a child in a safe. But in this Minecraft world with what happened, that was actually the best choice the parents could have made, given that everyone else is gone. This is the sole survivor of what happened, aside from the people that managed to flee the area entirely. So, someone made the right call there, but it is normally not the right call. This one was just someone having a dragon figure. Ender pearls and stuff, showing off the different enderman types that we have. And then there's one more floor. Also, it's kind of funny that I knew exactly which safe that child was in, but it's kind of one of those ones that you just don't forget when you set it up. This one, this one's a bit of a funny one, because those are all jars of jam. And this one actually belongs to one of the gods. This is Hibiscus Petal Grove's storage container. And she really likes making jam. You'll see that when we look at her house later. That one's empty. And then this one just has random stuff in it. Hats and things. These two, I don't remember who that one belonged to. I think that was just a random one. But yeah, so that is the whole block that we've covered then. And it has been, what, almost an hour of stream? 40 minutes? And we've covered less than half of this place. So you can kind of see how this was a fairly large project. I think we'll start over here on this one. This building is, like, this entire block was kind of meant to be more of a utility, or I don't know utility. Emergency services is kind of what this side of the block was. So this was the firehouse, which is why it has tractor for them to get to the things, kind of their setup for getting dressed, and a hole for them to jump down safely. Because poles don't really work in Minecraft. You can't really do a fireman's pole, so we had to have an interesting idea for how would they safely jump down. But you've got their beds here, and then upstairs you've got their actual just place where they chill while they're waiting for an alarm to sound. So then if we hop back down here, bouncy. The next one is the police office. or the police station. So, given that automobiles were fairly new, they still had stables for their police horses, and you can see not all of them managed to survive what happened. You've just got bathrooms down here. Which, one of the nice things about this bathroom is, since it is set up how it is, you just have the nice reflection that isn't really a reflection. That's always a cool effect. I use that elsewhere as well. But yeah, you can see that they were also decorated for Christmas. I believe Deswin decorated this office as well. This was one of the interesting ones as well, where you can see they've got a locked place in there, but it's different from the actual cells that they have upstairs. Because that's a different setup. So what this was meant to be was a way to hide some additional, like, useful things. And I believe, hang on, if I shrink down, do I not have my power button on? Options, controls, keybinds, power. Yeah, my power is not set up properly. Okay. That should be enough of them done now. So if I shrink down, you can see underneath the stairs there is actually a gap where someone who is very small, like a squee, can crawl through. And then they can go and open the door for everyone else. So that kind of... I think that was set up incorrectly, though. Because that was supposed to open everything, I think. But if you look in here, there's the ProTech employee ID. So that was kind of how you were supposed to do the extra workaround of finding things. Let's go back out the front and continue around the direction we were heading. This was another interesting location. Actually, oh, hang on, did we go down? I just got an OBS studio disconnected. Looks like Twitch is trying to reconnect. I'm gonna give it a second. Failed to reconnect, something went wrong. Uh-oh. I'm offline. Has my internet gone down fully? Come on. Is it still trying to reconnect? Okay, it's attempting to reconnect. Attempt 2. Come on. Is it back? Okay, I seem... Okay, so that looks like it might be back. Am I back, everyone? It looks like my internet went down for a second. Because that was definitely a kind of crash. It looks like we're good there. Can anyone confirm in chat? I think I'm gonna assume we're fine, because it looks like I've got viewers back and everything. Okay, good. We're good. So yeah, as I was saying, Livewire was actually a virtual bar that existed in VRChat and was created by Novixa, who, like, that was what they went to do after season 1.5, when they had to take a break from the project. They decided to step away and work on creating this bar in VRChat. So that was very cool. We wanted to fully support him and kind of show off what he was doing by putting it into our world still. And the funny thing was that the lore was he had actually created this place when he was previously in this world. This is another good example of the reflective setup, because this is just layered glass again. But it works very well. That was always super cool to have as a nod in this world. And then I already showed you guys Chariot, so we'll skip over that one, but we do also have just a cute little place. This was supposed to be a real estate office, so it's just kind of standard office-ish setup. And then if we run around this side, we have the upstairs. And this has 2 apartments in it. This one is the guy I was talking about before, where he is the photographer that works at Protect Pictures. And I believe this one, no. I swear I had one of his things here has his album stuff. I know it's also in his storage container. There it is. So he's got photo albums in here that you can go and see like what these are. So that was a nice way of further introducing mods into it. So that's always a really fun way of like show don't tell how to use the mods as well. I believe this one was decorated by Haru as well. I don't remember much about who was supposed to live here. They just set it up as a 2-bedroom place, I believe. Yeah. Pretty cute. This music is not right for this, though. We are not in the creepy sections. Let's go for that one. And then the next building, since we already saw the upstairs of the police office, we'll skip that one. This is an interesting one. This is the hospital. And this specifically, if I go into spectator mode again, was set up as kind of a dungeon. So if we... Oh, can I not see any of them? Ah, here's a good example. This has spawners with skeleton spiders in them. So those are scattered throughout this entire building, making it so that it'll spawn until you light it up, essentially. So it's supposed to be a kind of challenge area, and the places that actually had things that you would want were this room over here, which has a very interesting piece of graveyard stuff. It's a fragment of a bone staff, so people would still have to go travel and explore the actual graveyard mod stuff for the rest of the pieces for this, but it was a good way to introduce that, hey, this mod exists in here, and it kind of shows stuff was going very wrong, given that you've literally just taken the extended spine of a person when you pick this up. You don't really know what this was supposed to be. It had the top half of a person. Who knows what the bottom half was, though. Oh, and then there was also some diamond tools in here, just diamond knives and stuff. Chalk and like some other random tools. You have joined me showing off the builds that will not be used for Haywen SMP Season 2. So this is all stuff that was designed for pretty interesting lore and craziness, but unfortunately just isn't going to happen. But yeah, you can... I don't know why there's snow here. Kind of a weird one. But you can see with the beds in the halls and stuff, this place was crammed when stuff went down, which makes sense. It's a big hospital. I also had initially planned to put a large spider, because we have a mod that lets you grow and shrink entities, which you saw me shrink earlier. So we were going to have a large spider up here as the mama spider. Hydrating. 1, 2, 3. Alright, let me check those off. And I believe that is... Oh, frick, I went right into a cobweb. Yeah, so that's the last one of this block, because we're back to the firehouse there. Then you've got the apartment that I showed you before. This one was one that was supposed to be having work done on the front of it when things went down, which is why you see this kind of scaffolding that just kind of collapsed in front of it. This one, oh shoot, someone else did the interior of this one. I'm trying to remember who it was. Because it was someone who kind of popped in wanting to get involved, but kind of fell inactive after a while. Which I definitely do not blame them for. Like, Haywen SMP Season 2 was in development for a year. And that was with us trying to keep things active with the build matches and all the other stuff that we were doing. Which is one of the reasons why it's just kind of couldn't do it anymore. I think that was supposed to be a key there. I think that was a removed item from a mod. But you can see this place was pretty well organized. Definitely feels like someone lived here. And then if we pop out to the other side, you can see where things have started falling apart between the buildings. And this actual tree was just one that was potted that then got kind of stuck in. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else super interesting in these. This one did have rope to get up here and a backpack for people to pick up with some pretty good loot in it if they could find their way up here, because it is a bit of a maze to organize. But it was meant to be a survivor's kind of last stand, hence why there's just wooden sword next to them. I remember that much. Let me hydrate. And then, I don't think there's much else in this one specifically. Let's run around to the bank. This bank was supposed to be a much more interesting location. I mean, it's a pretty grand build on its own, but it also has some kind of lore setups in it, so more of the kind of Christmas vibes. And then if we head up this way, you can see there's kind of little waiting area, and then a meeting room up here. What's up, Tanny? And then some offices for the execs. And I believe this one has, yeah, so this guy was getting divorced. That was one of the funny things that I put in there. But then there's also the key to the vault. I chose to make the most boring building the most interesting. I mean, it's relative. But let me show you where the key to the vault was supposed to go. Because if you go back this way, you can get behind where the tellers are. And then you have all of these things, which these mainly just hold paper. That's not of much interest. But if you go downstairs, you get to the actual vaults. And the key upstairs was supposed to let you into this room here, which had keys to the actual numbered vaults. So that was kind of their key to get to whatever they needed to get to. And the more important papers. And then you had to figure out which one was 1, 2, and 3 and match them up, which isn't hard. But it is, like, since it had a couple of steps, you get a pretty nice reward for this. So for Vault 3, there's just a whole bunch of gold and diamonds. Like, this is proper vault, just got fancy stuff in it. Very sparkly, very nice. Then you have this vault here, which has an ender chest, which is useful. And also, this is supposed to be like the safety deposit boxes. So these are ones that they could grab and take up, have someone store something in, and then put back down here so that it's kept safe. But you have some actual nice loot in here of like different coins. You've got some rare items, engagement rings, just stuff people would want to actually hold on to. And yeah, this was meant to be like everyone would find it together type thing. Since there is, I tried to space out the actual loot a little bit because the shulker boxes themselves are part of the loot. There is still some funny divorce papers because someone else is getting divorced, of course. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else funny in here. But yeah, I imagine if you were here, you would probably just scoop up all of these. But we were trying to be nice with these. And then if we go into this room here, this one is where they actually kept just like a backlog of currency. So this was supposed to be a way for our players to actually start a currency system and like organizing that around themselves. And the reason why we kept that as something for people to find and then establish themselves is that in our lore, since I was the god, it doesn't really make sense for me to start a currency system. Because I have no need for currency. If you need something, I can try and help you out and whatnot. But I'm more interested in services and whatnot. There's no... Currency doesn't mean anything to me. I can just make it type thing. So that's why we kept that separate and made it so that if people wanted that, they would go to the bank and figure out how to set that up themselves. So that was a pretty interesting way of establishing a method for doing it while allowing it to be player choice. Unfortunately, that player choice never is going to come around, but that was the thought process for why we designed it that way. And then this build was a garden center made by Victory. So Victory made this build, and he did a very good job of making an overgrown tree in it. But this one, you can see, this one, the sign doesn't quite hold up. But I know he did a good job as well of putting the actual name of it on this painting. Though he did have the kind of funny side effect of putting his own name on it. So I guess in the lore, he did actually paint this for Chelsea. But I can't say for sure. Because that was his little world lore in there, not mine. I'm not 100% sure. We'll save the tower for a little bit later, I think. Actually, I think we'll do the tower... I don't know. Do you guys want to do the tower now, or do you guys want to do the tower last? Because the tower is like the biggest, one of the biggest pieces of lore. Bisexual spire? Kind of, actually. There was actually a reason behind the color scheme of the tower, is one of the other interesting ones. Because, in our world, we had already pre-established that there are multiple types of magic. And, one of mine is, or my two main ones were, lost magic, which was, creation magic, and, destruction magic. So, I was two sides of the same coin, because it was, Cat and Cthulhu. So, that's one of the reasons why, it was blue and orange were the two colors for that. So, if you notice, his tower spans from blue at the bottom, which blue is creation magic, so he's trying to pose to the world that, hey, I am a creator. I am an inventor, I make things. And this is Technobabel's tower. So this is one of the gods' towers. And then you notice that it dips into purple to pink to red. And purple specifically was a core color of greed magic. So that kind of gives you a bit more of an insight into what his actual motivation was. Because he was a self-made god. He is one of the few self-made gods in our lore. And I'll go over how he accomplished that a little bit later. But then red is, I believe, chaos magic. And orange is destruction. So you can see kind of, he has the full spectrum there. But yeah, I think we'll save that for a little bit. I'll just give you a little bit of a tease of it first. Because I do want to go over this theater, which has a couple other shops in it. It has this comic book store was the plan for this one. And this just kind of has random geeky stuff. I don't remember anything super specific. This was supposed to be an easy to find and explore place. And then you have the theater itself. This one, I believe, yeah, it has Lost and Found with one of the lore books. And then this was supposed to be where I was putting the employee ID originally, and then decided that the police office was a lot better place, police station. Yeah, you have the concession stand with the super cool concession image. And then this was actually just a way of showcasing these blocks here. These are projector blocks. There is a remote you can use to put something on them and have it play like a video. But I never got around to making the video for it, because there was just way too much to build. Way too much to build and work on. And then this one's another funny place. This is Lionel Records. So this place, if I turn on the world volume, or the music volume, hang on, let me pause our music playing there. If I turn on the music in game, this should... No? Weird. So this place is actually supposed to play music. It is supposed to kind of shuffle through different songs to kind of lure you over here. But other than that, it's just kind of a way to show this system, which is a radio. You can actually use, I forget what block it is, or where it is. It's somewhere in here. No, that's the wrong one. Yeah, I don't fully remember this. Oh, here it is. It was Phonos, the Phonos mod, where you can have a headset and portable radio and listen to things. So that was a way of introducing another mod that allowed people to interact further with each other. Because we really wanted to do player interaction and let players develop whatever they wanted type thing. But that's also how it got to be such a large, bloated project that just doesn't work. There's an interesting thing here with this ladder. It's here as a way to get up to the roof. I'm just going to fly up. Which has another kind of camp for people who are hiding behind that sign. It doesn't have much good loot here. There's just kind of more stuff. This one's a funny one. That's just a water sausage. I don't recommend eating cattails, but it was a funny thing to add. Yeah, this was kind of just meant to show people are finding weird ways to survive. Do I want to know what the opinion is, Danny? This building is the building I mentioned before with the white building with the red balconies. We'll start at the bottom floor for this. Because the bottom floor has a couple places that are not apartments. We'll go back to front. So this is the theater employees' place to get back into that. You were not wrong. The fact that one player was in creative and a lot of the builds were pre-made definitely does kind of put to question whether this is a proper SMP. But we chose to continue to use the word SMP because it was the most relevant tag we could think of for what we were trying to do. Because we could have come up with our own one, but that would have killed SEO, essentially. So it's kind of one of those things of, we know it's not quite right, but it's the closest we can get. So this is the preschool that was supposed to be here. There's a proper school in the tower itself. And it was primarily a Minecraft roleplay. It was listed as Haywen SMP originally. So RP was supposed to come first. This is a doctor's office. And one of the interesting things with this one is that the name is actually given to you, Hugo Turner. And that is relevant because there is another Turner that you can find reference to in the world. So I did try and make sure that you can kind of feel out family structures and who lives where in this, if you really wanted to. There is a surprising amount of stuff that went into it. Yeah. Lore was done quite significantly. This one wasn't one that had super much in it. Some of the other apartments in this building had a lot more interesting quirks to them. Like this is one of the ones that I believe was owned by the same person as one of the storage units. And they have a kid. Well, they actually have two kids. They have two kids that share a room. And then they've got they make clothes. That's one of the ways that you can get some cool hats and stuff. Those were kind of scattered throughout. And then they have lovely bedroom. And then if we head upstairs further, zoom. This one's... Let me hydrate before we go in. There we go, hydrate done. This one's one of the funny places, because this place, you can see, they very much like Christmas. This house loves Christmas. It is their favorite thing. Down to the point that, like, their bedroom is also covered in Christmas. And in my head, the person that lived here was a old man and woman, where the old man frequently got mistaken for Santa Claus and loved it to death. So he ended up picking up woodworking, making toys and stuff. And it is such just a cute little detail that I adore about this. This is the kind of world building that I just really love to do, and one of the reasons why I had so much trouble with spiraling out of control of making things. But he is not the only one with a story in this building. Because this apartment as well has a bit of a quirk to it, too. You can notice, they really like bunnies. So much so that the little angel on top of their tree is a bunny. So of course, they had a bunny. Had being the key word. It was so mean of me to make this. But I still absolutely love how this turned out. Because this is a bit collection block. I had to manually sculpt that. And it still reads to me as a bunny. I mean, yes, legitimately. I love making worlds and building up, like, lore behind why things are where they are. Heck, you guys have seen it with me working on House Flipper, where I like to imagine who would live in this house and build it around that. This was essentially the same exact thing, was figuring out who lived here and what purpose does it serve in the SMP. This person also had a couple kids. I sincerely wish you luck with that, Danny. Because making the mod pack itself is the most struggling part of it. Over here is another interesting build. This building is one of the... I think this was like this... No, this was probably middle of the pack, not super early. It was pretty early, though. And I don't blame you with not with CurseForge. So this one, the dark music actually does fit a little bit here. This is a hotel. So this is a place for people to stop into town and actually, like, stay. And so, for the most part, this is just a transitive place. They've got the nice little office for you to step in, work on some stuff. They've got the sunrise room, which is where they have the continental breakfast. Place for people to come eat. Oh, and yeah, that's what Net was doing with this one. That doesn't exactly pick up all the errors. There's definitely a lot more that goes into that. So I sincerely wish you luck. 201, just another room. There are a couple actual rooms. I try to keep a nice naming system of like 3 is 3rd floor. You've got kind of the standard setup of the different beds, bathrooms, and things. Yeah, don't do 300 plus mods. That's for sure. Another room. I was going to put something in that briefcase. I think I chose against it, though. Also, each of the rooms have the Lady of the Abyss book, which this is actually a book from season 1.5 that kind of goes into some of the lore behind the Lady of the Abyss. It's meant to be essentially a indoctrination book, which is why Squee burns it on sight. Squee hates that book. But I know Desmond, one of the other players, was wanting to get more involved in the Lady of the Abyss, which is why it's scattered so heavily throughout the world. Up here you've got storage, which has just some stuff in it. This one specifically was a funny one, where someone just hid some wine up here. One of the workers of the hotel wanted a little break room, so they snuck some wine into the storage room and called it a break room. Just bathroom there. What's up, Tanny? This last room is a little bit more important, so I'm going to try and answer. I scare you? Hang on, what part of this scares you? Because I have not even gone into the bigger lore piece that is in room 401. So I want to know what scares you about this. Is it just the sheer amount? Oh, the bunny, you can't get it out of your head? Yeah, there were some darker notes in this world. Which is actually one of the things with this one. I think I'm going to actually kind of clear this out a little bit. Because this is one where you actually had to break some of these cobwebs to get to it. Because it's that back drawer there. This is supposed to be a very hidden piece of lore. Where it's a letter to Technobabble from Neum. So this is written from the god to another god. And the fact that he lived in this room for a while tells you something went down. Because gods don't normally live in the most hidden room of a hotel. So I am going to save this for later. I'm going to hold this in my inventory. And we'll talk about it once we get to the penthouse at the top of the tower. So that was where you find the key to unlock the biggest part of the lore that was currently in place and access to the undeveloped sections that would have been developed more as we got to where we wanted to put things. Because I was trying to limit how much I was developing while working on this, because otherwise I could have kept going with the entire world lore and it just never would have ended. So we'll start down here on this one. This is jewelry store. Pretty simple. It's just got an engagement ring, a couple of the lesser rings and stuff. And a ring of fire resistance is the best one, kind of tucked in that safe there. The funny bit about this one was the knockdown door. Kind of giving you an idea that people probably broke into this after things went down. If you look on this side too, there's like cracks in the window where people were throwing stuff at it. But then if we head upstairs, let me close that behind me. We have other ways of getting out here. Room 1. This is a guy that I've mentioned before. This is Hunter Fox's room. And you could tell, because he hunts foxes. So this guy pops up in 3 places in this world, including this one. One was the storage room that I already showed you. The other place is he has reference to him in the tower. So it was kind of more of dragging people through this and making it feel like it's a lived-in world. I don't think he had much in the way of actual loot. He was more a lore thing. Oh, there. So he has the teacher ID. So that was a way to get into the school as well. That was one of the many placements of it. I mainly stuck those in the different apartments to reward, reward exploring the very lived-in world. Oh, this floor, we missed this one. This one's 2. This one is actually the home of, not currently live. It was a lived-in world. This is the home of an artist who is also a teacher at the school. Oh yeah, they do have another teacher ID. Alice Turner was their name. So it was very, very lived in. And if you noticed, that's the same Turner as Hugo Turner, who was one of the other, he was the doctor. But he doesn't live here, because Alice is his daughter who has since moved out, was essentially what I had planned. And then up here, we have the home of a college student. More or less. That was the thought process for this one. They've got propaganda on the wall. They've got the bike they use to travel around. And they're not very well decorated. But they do like booze, and they have managed to sneak up onto the roof and drink while looking at Protect Tower. So it was very fun to kind of figure out how these people would have lived, how they would have influenced the world, and fit it all together like that. And then we've got this building here, which is actually 2 different buildings. This is kind of split down the middle in 2 different sections. On this side, we've got a Italian restaurant. I think Squee actually did the interior of this one. I'm trying my best to give credit where I remember it. I should have kept better log of who did what, but the actual exterior and most of the other interiors were me. And then if we head upstairs of this one, you'll see it's more apartments. 1B, I believe this was meant to be the person who actually owned these apartment buildings. So they were kind of living there and helping out, keep it maintained. This one was a family of 3. They all shared one bed. One big bed tucked over here. And you can just see they've got random clothes and stuff. Actually, no, I think it was a family of 4, not 3. Because there was a father here, too. But they have student IDs, just kind of stuff to get more stuff stuck around. But you can see the kinds of foods that they eat. I tried to be pretty on top of that. And then up here, we have 2A. This one was another one that had a student in it. I believe, they got leather boots for him. His student ID should be somewhere around here. I swear I put it. Oh, here it is. This one here has his student ID. What are you excited for, Squee? Just soups and stuff in there. Also, the reason why you'll see so many suspicious stews in the fridges is because they were gone for quite some time, so a significant amount of their food probably would have decomposed a bit. Good for you, Squee. This one is kind of like a dorm room setup. You just have 4 people all living in the same room. They're probably not super happy about it, but they make it work. Someone clearly likes to cook in here. I'm trying to remember if there was any other key. You can kind of get a feel for who each person was. Like, this person really liked to read. This person was kind of messy. That person liked taking photos. What has happened with my chat, though? My chat seems to have broken a little bit. Let me try refreshing that. Okay, should be fine. And then if we open this up, Oh, we were just in this one. Oops, sorry about that. Upstairs we go. Because even the upper sections of these had like clutter and stuff in them. I tried to make sure stuff was a bit organized. There's not really much you get up here. Oh, it was just my chat tracker on my side was saying that it had disconnected. So I just did a quick refresh of it and it's fine now. We'll go down the other side. So down here. This one's a funny one. This is Mrs. Potts Pots. And I came up with the name and then decided that I had to make the store. Because we just have a lot of pots in this mod pack. So it was really funny to just make an excuse to fill in the whole place with them. What's up? I don't think there was much more interesting stuff in here. It was just kind of silly. I don't really need a handful of moss. Alright, and then, oh, I forgot, we have to go up, check the other apartments. Over here, because these are the ones on the other side. So I think 1A, this person had a little bit, they moved from a larger place, so they had a chair that didn't quite fit, so they just stuck it in the hallway. But their place is pretty cluttered. I don't quite remember if I had much lore for who they were beyond what kind of stuff they liked. I know they liked cigarettes. That was one of the things that was kind of funny. Because that came from Soviet editions, I believe. This one was a pair of sisters. I believe they were supposed to be students as well. I don't think there was much in the way of like loot in here. I think if there was, it was back in this thing. Yeah, so you just kind of have like they like pink, so it's more just cute add-on stuff that people can find and be reminded that hey, this exists. Because not everything was super lore-heavy areas. And then 2A, this side. This one was empty apartment that someone hadn't moved into yet. Because we had to have at least one of those somewhere. This one's a fun one. Because this one is another important character. Well, I say important in quotes. This guy, I originally had a zombie sitting in that chair that was name tagged to be him. So you were supposed to actually see this guy and see what happened to him. But he's the type to eat the same thing every day because all of his creative energy goes into writing books. And this was Adam Green. And he wrote a book called Lost Oliver. And I forget exactly if there was something specific in this book. I'm gonna kind of flip through it so people can pause the like VOD and go read it at their own pace if they want. But it is a bit of a long book that was just a legitimate story for people to go read because I am a crazy person and flesh out my worlds in stupid crazy ways. But this book was found both here and in some of the libraries, I believe. So it was kind of interesting to work that in. Thank you for the hug, Tanny. And then this one actually has something a little bit... Yeah, let me up. Wait, yeah, this one has a little carpenter's table up here. Wait, what? Hang on, what is this? Ah, yes, okay. So that was the chisel and bit thing, I think. I am confused on this now, actually. Hang on, craft that. Okay, I don't know. Oh, it was just the different alternative textures. I've just never actually used that. I've always pulled them from the creative menu, so I got confused. So we've now finished this block. So we've got those sections there and the tower. I think, given that those two are also God's houses, we're going to start with the tower, take a break with that section, and then go continue on with the world lore. Oh, actually, I think we're going to do the reverse, actually. We're going to go jump to that house over there, because this house belongs to the first god of this world. This is Hibiscus Petalgrove's house. And I very much like Hibiscus Petalgrove. I would absolutely get along with her. Well, actually, I can't say that for sure. I would very much respect her as a fellow god, because she is another god of creation. So, she is one that I would very much be interested in. And she has a bit of a different vibe than I do, beyond just being blue and pink. She is the type to be very maximalist. And this is one of the things that actually made me like maximalism a bit more recently, is I had so much fun cluttering this house. Like, this is absolutely filled to the brim. You've got stuff stacked on top of stuff. Like, this shouldn't be possible in Minecraft, but is because of mods. And I don't think she had much in the way of, like, loot and chests, because, again, she's a god. She doesn't need to store much, but she does have, like, a cute little shelf to display things that she's made. And she got into Origins, too, and made the little flower cows. We've got axolotl in a bucket, all kinds of silly things. I probably should have actually removed that disc. I think that disc specifically is the one that gets copyright struck. But that's not an issue anymore. But here's what I was mentioning before with the she stress makes jam, essentially. That is her way of relaxing, is just making jam. So she has given it to so many people. She's got the whole storage room full of it, because that is her method for calming herself down. Because she is a pretty frantic type person. She's got brewing set up here. That very, very cluttered absolutely everywhere you go in this place. And then upstairs is her bedroom and more storage. But her bedroom, which I believe that was supposed to be another painting. Some of the paintings in here have kind of broken, which is unfortunate, but it's kind of what happens. Yeah, so Hibiscus Petalgrove was the god who actually created the world. She was the first one here. She kind of... The town sprung up near her, but she tried to keep a little bit of a distance to it. The second god to show up was actually Bucket. Bucket, the god of holding, kind of turned up to the world, saw Hibiscus, saw her stress-making jam, and went, "You need help." So that's when he went and got in contact with Connie Sequential, who is the Lady of the Abyss's adoptive daughter. So Connie Sequential was pulled into this world by Bucket, specifically to be Hibiscus's therapist, essentially. Because Connie Sequential is more or less the HR to the Abyss. That's what she was previously. And the Lady of the Abyss basically looked at her, saw Bucket kind of trying to get help, and went, "It's about time for you to try out being a god. So go to this world, go help out them, and see what you can do." So that's why you've now got Connie Sequential's home, which, if you noticed, the outside building was made by Hibiscus. It is the same exact build, just different color scheme as Hibiscus's house. But uh, Connie is a lot more organized. Connie Sequential has a lot more, like, she wants to welcome people in. She's got nice, cozy living room to do therapy. And, of course, she's got Lady of the Abyss books scattered absolutely everywhere, because that's her mother. She likes her. And then I was planning on putting some, like, logs of, like, notes Connie had taken during therapy appointments and stuff. I never quite got around to that one. But it was meant to be, like, this is another location you could get lore from. And I think towards the tail end of it, we had actually decided that the Lady of the Abyss would have taken all of the notebooks, essentially. That's one of the reasons why there aren't any here. And so we would have kind of been able to drip feed them back into the world through Deswin as he got involved with the Lady of the Abyss, because she would hand over Connie's notes and kind of give more credence to what she was saying. So that was a lot of lore kind of in the works still. I know for a fact that was a specific, I think this was supposed to be a Soul Speed book? Yeah, Soul Speed 2. So that kind of gives you a hint to some of her origins. And then if you look up here, she's just very sunny personality, more or less. Tons of Lady of the Abyss books to just drive home the fact of that Connie is involved with the Abyss in one way or another. Despite the yellow color scheme everywhere. But there was also another hint that was a cute little thing. Because if you listen closely in the area, I don't know if you can hear it with the background music and everything going on right now. I might have the music or the game audio a little low. But you can hear an end or a nether portal in this area. You can hear it through most of this house. And that's because there exists one. It's right here. Connie specifically has a portal back to the Nether, which is one of the tiers or one of the levels of the Abyss. And hi Garcia, how are you? So yeah, it was very cool to be able to hide that in there and have it just look like a bookshelf. That was one of the things I was very proud of hiding all of this lore in basically plain sight. And one of the funny things as well is since Connie, the one who lived here, was Hibiscus's therapist, of course she would go to that house a lot. So there's this whole little path that goes down this way and just a little lily pad bridge to get across to go there. To kind of give you the sense of this is a well-trodden way to go. And then the other place she goes a lot is post office. There's a cute little playground over here with a a little desert temple sandcastle someone built. I had wanted to have this point like face in the direction of the nearest desert temple, but I never quite got as far as figuring out where that was. It would have been a cute little hint though. So this is a post office. We were going to have more like letters between the residents as a way of filtering or like of filling out the lore a little bit more. I don't think we ever got that far. This place was decorated by Squee, I believe. I don't think there was much in the safes and whatnot. But it was kind of a place we could flesh out lore if we wanted to more. Plus, any good town is going to have a post office. And then any town also has a library. Which this one does have actual books that, like, this is the letter flag that I mentioned at the start of the stream. If you remember, at the docks, there was the letter J flag for signals put out. So if we go to the tab for J, I am on fire and have dangerous cargo on board. Keep well clear of me. So this was a last-ditch attempt of someone working at the docks to tell anyone out at sea, don't come home. Stuff is going wrong, like, it is dangerous. So that was a cute way of... I say cute, it's a very dark subject, but it was a cute way to fill out kind of what happened. How did people react? So that was a very fun way of doing it. Just got random books there. Lady of the Abyss scattered through here, of course. I think there was... I knew there would come some other ones in there. Oh, it's just another flag one, I think. I don't know. I'll just leave that broken though. This one's not gonna... Well, actually no, I should put one back. Just stick another couple books in there. Yeah, I don't think there were many other books. I honestly can't remember all of the books that I wrote to fill out things and flesh out stuff. I'm sure there is, oh, let me clear weather. I'm sure there are some filler books from last season in there as well, like the flowers symbolism book. Like there's a dictionary of flowers and their symbolism. Because that was from last season. This one's another fun build. This one is a barbershop. And these mirrors are actually just pictures. Like, I specifically sat myself, like, in this position, crawled, and got the shot of the place to reflect it back. So that was another fun way of figuring out how to do mirrors in this. But the real fun of this place was the part that I never actually completed. Because this was also supposed to be a front. So if you go back here, it looks like a just very cluttered storage room. But if you sneak your way past this, and you kind of have to jump through it, this wall is actually a false wall. Or it was going to be. So if I had this open, you could see there is all of this space to fill out and turn into a resistance or a mafia den, something of the sort, where there is clearly reason why they wanted to hide this. But since we were trying to get things going and the builds were taking long enough, I kind of just had to scrap that idea for a while. The catnip garden. It could be a catnip garden. Never know. And then we'll go up to the front. This back road here is literally just that. It's a back road. There's no additional things on that side. But on this side, you have, this was supposed to be a old factory or old mill or something. I forget what exactly we called it. But it was converted into two different things. The bottom floor is the grocery store. So you've got very, very nice grocery store. You've got different plants that people could like break these open and get the plants from to grow things. You've got soap. You've got flowers, garden center with more seeds, and then things like boots, rope, dyes, just random useful stuff that people would probably want. And then you've got like meat case and stuff. If you head back out the employee way, you've got the backlog of items, little bathroom for them to use, and then the office. And then if you head out the back door, the employees only door, you see there's the staircase here, which this is actually a event space that was set up for a Christmas party. Because if you remember, it's supposed to be around Christmas when everything falls apart in this world. So this was quite a fun build to try and put together. There is reference to this in the tower, which I will show you later. But then just back here, you've just kind of got toilet, like, stuff. So it is very much just nice event space, kind of reference to. Nothing really super to show off here. It was more supposed to be somewhere that we could use as well for turning it into our own event space. Since people were supposed to roleplay in this world. And then we've got bread. This was also done by the same person that did, or at least the exterior was done by the same person that did the interior of the apartments that had the scaffolding on the front. I'm blanking on their name. Let me quickly check the Discord, see if I can remember who it was, because I want to give proper credit. I just can't remember, unfortunately. I think they were... was it them? No, I don't know, unfortunately. I'm really sorry. If I remember, or if I get told separately, I'll put it in the description of the YouTube video. But I unfortunately just can't remember which of our members did that. I think the interior was done by Cannibal Kitty, I believe was her name. I think I threw that picture up there though. That was a fun one. And then you have the aquarium, which was made by Victory as well. He put his name on it too. So this just has fish in it. I think it was supposed to be a proper aquarium. I'm not sure if it was supposed to be a fish store or what. Is that just because I went into the fish store? But it is a pretty interesting setup. Let me hydrate. Yeah, just kind of back section for more organizing fish stuff. And I think that is actually our last build aside from the tower. So that is fully gone around town. So I should probably give a little bit more of a explanation of the tower and who lived there and kind of what it was supposed to be. Because if you notice, this tower is significantly different style, size, like everything from everything around it. But everything is centered around the tower. Like their life in this area is very much centered around this tower. And that's because the tower was created by Technobabble, who was previously named Tesla. Because Tesla was a natural born to this world. So he grew up here and then decided to try and get as much power as he could, essentially. Like, he set out initially with create contraptions. He was the founder of the actual, like, industrial revolution of this world. So he developed himself into the god of industry. And he actually had a lover who was Neum. Neum is another natural born of this world who ascended to godhood after Tesla did, because Tesla wanted to keep his lover and support network. So Neum, who was always his support, always keeping him in line, became the god of contracts. Because Neum went to law school, and that's just kind of his background. So he just kind of morphed into that. So with the fact that Tesla became Technobabble and created this, we can go and explore the tower and see how that actually came to be, or how that kind of shaped this place. Because obviously, still Christmas time, still got the Christmas stuff, but ProTech was a name Technobabble came up with, because it's just professional tech. he is wanting to show himself as the highest, like, he is industry. He is the forefront of everything. And that kind of comes into place. That didn't load earlier, but it loaded now. Anyways, that comes into place with this security system as well. Because if you notice, there's an input ID and pickup ID. So this is where you would stick, like, this penthouse key is one of the IDs. So you would put that in there. It would flow through, unlock part of the tower, which is done by closing off these. These would normally be closed, and you would have to find the key to unlock it. The first one would be just held by a mob in this area that you'd kill and then stick in the ID thing. So it'd get you access to here and the roof. And then you would just pick it up here at the end. So that's how that system would work. And if you, we'll pop down here so you can kind of see. I sealed this off in bedrock so that no one could sneak into it. But there is the Bob the Protect security guard. This was supposed to be the guy that actually held the key. Hang on, let me set it to not peaceful for now. Game difficulty. Difficulty is only for easy works. So yeah, this is just Bob the Protect security guard. He was here when everything went down. He is really fast, so he was supposed to give people... Like, he's not that hard to defeat. He is just a wither skeleton. But it should be, with the extra speed, enough of a challenge that people who are fresh spawns are going to be daunted by him. And he is very obviously holding an ID card. So you know, if you want to unlock that thing, or if you were looking for an ID, you gotta take him down. And he will drop that. That's how that worked. And then you can kind of see the system down here. This took a stupid amount of time to do, setting up the system of dropping in the key card, filtering it out, and it actually has a catch for if it's not an ID card. If it's something entirely different, just send it back up. Don't even send it through the rest of the system. And then this section here is determining which ID card it is, so it knows which section of the tower to unlock. And this is all set up with just the create mod, essentially. It is the create mod, and I think, yeah, we have like one other redstone mod here that just does an invert, essentially, which you can do with basic redstone. So if you wanted this in just create mod setup, you probably could. It'd just be a little bit different. But it turned out very cool. And then let me move that back. Since we've shown enough of the lobby. Yes, you can actually make a keycard system without the create mod. I just wanted to use the create mod, frankly. I was trying to find ways to showcase things in our mod pack, so it was a lot more interesting to do it, and I think a lot more compact to do it with the create system. Yeah, so Bob wants in here, but we're gonna go to the next floor. We're gonna actually use the elevator. And you can see how these close and open to actually deal with things. But this is our school setup. So you can see you've got the front office here, which has the teacher's lounge behind it. And if you actually look in the fridge, I think, yeah, Hunter Fox's lunch. So that's one of the ways that you know that he's a teacher here. Adam's sandwich. So that's the writer, Adam Green, that we saw in the place before. Yet again, this is literally from his fridge. And then you just got Please Do Not Steal. Don't know whose that is, but it's one of them's. And then I don't think there was anything super interesting in these filing cabinets. It was just kind of another place I could put lore if I wanted to. And then if we go, all of these are bathrooms. Because I wanted to make sure that you had boys and girls bathrooms in this school. So blue is the door for boys, pink is the door for girls. And then you've got study rooms on the side kind of thing. With a chicken in one of the chairs. That was clearly a chicken jockey. But yeah, here is Alice's classroom. Because she's an art teacher. Definitely getting into winter spirit with the Santa Claus still life for people to do. I don't think it's named that this is hers, but it definitely was. And then on this side, oop, started flying. This is one of the science classrooms, or I think the only science classroom, which is just basically potions. That's what they were doing here. So that was kind of a cool way to actually introduce the alchemy table, or alchemist table. Which I still don't know how to use either. I just have it set up there. And then if we head up this way... Oh, wait, no. I missed one, didn't I? Because on this side, there is the library, which this is the school library, which it has its own books and everything too. I believe you can find the Lost Oliver in here as well. Thank you, Danny. And then up this way, you get to the next floor. And one of the things that I find funny is with this school, the school mascot is a bee. And that was specifically selected by Technobabble, because he designed this school as a way to train others to work under him. So he literally views them as his worker bees. Like, he doesn't even view them really as people. He just wants to be able to call them bees and not get called out for it. So it is very silly. This is Hunter Fox's classroom, I believe. I don't know if I have any actual mention to him in here. It just shares a bit of a similar style to his actual apartment and stuff. What's up? I've made Christianity? I mean, I've made religion, yes. Another bathroom there. This one, I don't think I know who this teacher was. They were just a math teacher. They had some currency in there and whatnot. Yep, didn't mean to sit down. I was trying to check that bookshelf, see if there was anything in it. Nope, nothing in that one. And then over here, this is Adam Green's classroom. So you can see he was an English teacher here, on top of writing novels. So it's kind of more of the just filling out the world lore in simple ways. You can see he continues to love the color green. His last name's Green, he likes the color green. And then over here, you have the biology classroom. Really, I just saw the creeper trophy and went, okay, I have to use that. That is just such a good way of, like, teaching students, hey, these creatures are dangerous. If you see one, run. Because, of course, they're going to have some kind of, like, class like that somewhere. And it's also really fun to see how each of the different teachers kind of set up their classrooms. Because this one did, like, big U shape. Instead of putting everyone just facing the front. They clearly like to just wander around. Hang on, did we get all the rooms? Because I think that was... Yeah, okay, we did. So then upstairs, this is where some of the more interesting classrooms are. Because this is where you have the more technical type stuff. This is the stuff that Technobabble really wanted people to learn to help him advance things. So you've got, specifically, the create stuff. And this kind of has the whole setup of, this is a tool that you could use to chop down wood. This is one that mines through stone, so people get a clear view of what it is. You've got how fans work. The thing behind this is actually a water wheel, which was supposed to be one of Technobabble's first inventions. And then over here you've got things like the steam engine that's already set up to provide gear, or to provide power. And all you have to do to get it working is to... Why is that not working? It was supposed to be, you're supposed to just turn that thing, but for some reason something's overstressing it. I swore I had tested that. Well, I guess that machine's busted, but there is a second one elsewhere in this tower that was supposed to serve as an additional teaching moment. Yeah. Either way, we'll carry on for now. I'm not gonna worry about bug fixing that. You can just see some... Actually, wait, did I put anything on this clipboard? Aha! I did! Yeah, more of just the random lore of, yeah, grade midterm projects. childproof the gears, maybe. Fill the steam engine. So I guess it is lore accurate that the steam engine's broke. He's just not got it fixed. And then this is the kind of gears where it's like, okay, he should probably childproof this. Someone's gonna get their finger caught in that and break their hand. But no, he's not gotten around to it. And then that just has empty schematic, which is part of the schematic canon. So that is very fun. And then here's another interesting classroom. This one's the geography classroom. And this actually has a map that I should have updated before saving this world. But this shows you just how big this is. This is several maps to cover this area, and there's the nearest town. So it's kind of a way to let people get their bearings of the area a bit more without having to do it themselves. And then, oh, that's not the door. Don't offer Tanny's finger to that. Over here we have the automobile classroom. This is where they were actually putting together one. You can see a half put together car there. And I believe this has, yeah, this has the pieces of it scattered throughout here a little bit. So people can actually put together a car and get it off there and use it. So that way it's kind of a actual teaching moment for how to use the mod, which is one of my favorite things for how this school was meant to work. Because since it is a school, it is the best place to add mod tutorials. Because if you want to learn something, you go to the school. How to get it outside? You pick it up. So in this case, let's throw it together. If we throw on... No? How? Side effect of me not knowing how to work this. I swore I've made one work before. Maybe I need the other wheel? Okay, yeah, so that gets big wheels on there. And then if we throw on... I think we need engine, don't we? I think that's missing an engine. No, it's already got engine on it. Okay. So it's just missing a wheel, and then it should be... No? Well, I don't know how to get it off this thing. Oh, I think it's missing one more wheel. I think that's why. No? Okay. No, I'm just lost. I'm not gonna fret over that anymore. Hydrating now. Yeah, you can pick up the cars and put them in your inventory. So there wasn't much concern about how to get it outside once we figured out how to make it. And then over here you've got the culinary classroom, where they made bread. And you can see some had more success than others. That's one of the funny bits that I like, is just seeing how they all did a little bit different. But this was supposed to help teach you how to use the brick oven and stuff too. Also, I forgot to mark off that hydrate. And then if we head back downstairs so that we can get to the elevator, because that central thing is literally just the elevator shaft, we should be able to get up to the ProTech offices. Like Hogwarts from Minecraft. I mean, I'm flattered if that's what you want to make the comparison to. So this is the first floor of the ProTech offices. These offices were split up onto the different floors. This is kind of meant to be a kind of community, like, central place where they can have cross-department meetings. If you want to go to the actual offices... Hang on, is this the first one? No, that is one of the higher ones. So let's go to other side, I think should be the lowest one. Yeah, okay, so that's the first one. Come on, there we go. Pop out here. So this is supposed to be ProTech Pictures. The painting thing kind of broke on it at the moment. But you can see they've got a theater here for like advanced screenings where they can make sure that everything's working, everything's filmed how they want it. They've got Cody merch up here. And then the big Cody sign again. One of my favorite things, though, here is this clipboard specifically. Because I wanted each area of this tower to give you something. It didn't necessarily have to be a, like, useful item or something that was actually tangible. One of the things that I really wanted it to hand out too was lore. And since Cody is such an obviously big thing, I'm gonna go over what kind of made Cody such an interesting thing. Because Cody, specifically, as a name, is a name that was dropped in season 1.5. It was a child that I babysat while I was also taking care of my piglin child, Jeffrey. So the fact that you now, first thing as you spawn into this world you see, is a big sign with the name Cody and a piglin boy on it, is kind of a thing of, hey, that's familiar. That's not right. And I know my character and Net's character would have immediately clocked that, hey, that feels weird. Like, it could be a coincidence, but that feels weird. And the reason we came up with for why this was in here is because Cody was more than just a boy I babysat. He was a child from season 1.5, well, before season 1.5, really, where in season 1.5, we discovered that he managed to somehow flee the world that I had destroyed, essentially, as Cthulhu. So the fact that last season we discovered that he managed to make it out, and we don't know where he went, and we're now finding Cody plastered on a sign, gives us a hint that he probably came here. There was probably something that happened, and he arrived here. And somehow his story got twisted to where he is now crossed with Jeffrey in this world's essentially mythology, which is posed as a just Pixar-style film that Protech Pictures has done. You say that, Tanny. Cody was actually not meant to necessarily be on our side. Because Cody, I can't say for sure what it would have ended up as, since this was, like, far later lore for this. But Cody, when he arrived to this world, was injured and was taken in. And he was essentially transformed into a consciousness in a machine. So that's how he finally ended up. So he is actually the Protech security system that in the world would have forced everyone into adventure mode as soon as they approached the tower. Like, he is that thing. So we actually meet him, or we would have actually met him when we first stepped into this world and, like, crossed over out of the sidewalk into the front yard of this place. Is we would have been told, you've triggered the security system and pushed into adventure mode. And then once you exit out of the tower's radius, you get put back into survival. So and that would have affected me as well. That would have pulled me out of creative and into adventure mode. Because this was something that was specifically designed to work against gods. Because, of course, Technobabble, the one who is helping to define all of this, is very scared of other gods. So that was all, like, crazy lore that was pushed into this. And I'm really sad that we couldn't play it out, but I'm still very happy with how it was written. And one of the funny things is this setup, which guarantees that the Cody you see on that sign is the same Cody that I know. Because I am name dropped in this world that I have supposedly never been to before. Because it's just a funny list of possible movie ideas. Because of course they want to tell stories about Technobabble. And if Technobabble loves Neum, obviously their love story would be a great one. And then you've just got the name drop of the other god, of Hibiscus Petal Grove. Tim in accounting is a reference to somewhere else in this office setup. I will point out Tim in accounting later. He is very funny. And I've now realized it's actually very ironic that you said that this was the Hogwarts of Minecraft, given that I have put Wizard School as a possible movie idea for this guy. And then Lost Oliver, just as another reference to a thing in the world. But that's kind of the lore drop that's supposed to be in this section. And I tried to be pretty careful with keeping lore drops as subtle things that people could infer. Just because it's way more fun to see how people actually take it. So let's move on to the next office, which is up this way. We head up this one. We end up in Protect Tech. Technobabble is not good at naming things, as you can tell. But this is the technical department of Protech. So this is where you have the actual working setup. So if we crank this one, you can see water flows into the steam engine. And then once it starts going on its own, it's ready to go. And then this is one of the funny kind of lore drops in this one too, is that there is a problem employee, or there may be a problem employee, it's a bit unclear, because this coal has been labeled for blaze consumption only, Zach. But it's unclear whether that is a sign written by Zach or written for Zach. And this is one of my favorite bits of this floor, is just this running gag of all of these signs specify Zach at the end, but you don't know whether this is just a really big idiot they have had to baby-proof this place for, or whether this is like the head of the security for this place who's like, okay, guys, don't eat coal. And it is just very silly. So this switch here actually turns on the power for the rest of the building. So if you notice now this shaft is spinning, where if you had that turned off, it wouldn't. That's so that you can actually turn that gear and turn it on. That's what the other one was missing. So that's kind of funny that I show how to fix it in the very same building. But it has all of the create contraptions, and these are kind of supposed to be ones that both A, show you how to use it, and also serve as a place for people to come and use it if they don't want to build it themselves. It was baby-proofing. It would make sense with the make the gears more safe. The make the gears more safe was in the classroom, though. We don't actually know if Zach was the same person as the teacher in that classroom. That could be a good headcanon, though. But yeah, you've got all of the components here all set up. And then these are actually cool. If I click this, it should trigger? No? Oh, right. It's because of this sign here. Only power after feeding the blaze burners, Zach. So this is another instance of you don't know whether that's baby-proofing or if that's actually Zach telling you to do that. But if you go over here and then grab the coal and feed the blaze burners, they all turn on. And they should now have enough power to power that thing. So you can go and flip that switch. Because otherwise the whole system shuts down. It gets overstressed. So now that that's turning, you can hit the button and it triggers the thing to create it. So that is very much a kind of preset, like already built, ready for people to use and just see how it works. Yeah, because having this building be the tutorial is one of the best uses for it. And kind of one of the other reasons of why people should explore this. Because they learn things. Oh, and here's another one of those signs. Not for lava disposal, Zach. Who knows whether Zach tried to pour lava down the sink, or if Zach is warning people not to pour lava down the sink because he works with idiots. I still absolutely love that. And yeah, Create is a super cool mod. I love Create, but it is an absolute pain to try and work into a mod pack. It is one of the reasons for many of our issues. Which I'll probably end this off with a why this isn't a continued project. But we do have 2 more floors technically. No, we got 3 more floors, including this one, if you count the roof, because there is something on the roof too. So this is the proper Protec office. This is more the office section where Tim in accounting works. So let's see if we can find Tim in accounting's desk. It is right here. I knew it was this one. So he's got a clipboard. And it has a to-do list. So his to-do list is check the to-do list, organize the desk, refill paper clips, drink water, and he's done that 4 times, alphabetize daydreams, check to-do list, check don't list, beg for raise. Oh, actually no, Tim is somewhere else. This isn't Tim, this is someone else. I forgot. Ask wife if she's cheating, which he did ask. Ask Tim if he's cheating with my wife. He is. Cry in the bathroom, and beg Technobabble for forgiveness. You think you're the only one I'm saying about? Oh, you're spamming it to this guy too? Fair enough. And then his to-don't list is just check the to-do list. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but that's what he has here. And I absolutely love this guy. I think Squee was the one who helped me with that to-do list, and it is just such a silly thing. And this guy is clearly drinking on the job because his wife is sleeping with Tim. It is such a silly lore setup. But I love it. This is manager's desk. Was there anything on his clipboard? New hire onboarding, so this kind of shows you what they do for people who are new to the company. You bet Zach is sleeping with all of them? Possibly, who knows? Who knows? If Zach is the competent one, he definitely is. New hire onboarding, introduction to the CEO. Don't forget to show off Technobabble's portrait, so that tells you that this picture here is of Technobabble. And that is the most tech bro kind of portrait, honestly, for a god to have. And then we got go over job roles and expectations, introductions to this team, and set up shadowing. So pretty basic, pretty competent work stuff from this manager at the very least. Nothing at all like the frickin' guy whose wife is sleeping with Tim in accounting. And then on this side, there's just kind of more desks, more clutter. This one's an interesting desk as well, because this is the HR person's desk. This one, they have a thing for Christmas party plans. So they wanted to rent out the old factory, get catering from the Italian place, which was Luigi's. Talk to Chris about being Santa again. So Chris is the name of the guy that looks like Santa Claus. And then organize Carol for Technoblade's entrance. Or, sorry, Technobabble's entrance. I realized I might have stated Technoblade earlier, which was, Technoblade was actually one of the influences behind Technobabble, as you can see by the name, because I do actually have mad respect for Technoblade. And I wanted to have a soft nod to him as, like, because Technoblade is frickin' blood for the blood god type thing. So it was fitting to have Technobabble be inspired by Technoblade as well. So that was very cool in my opinion. Another portrait of Technobabble there. And then I think that's everything for this office. So we can go and head up to the next floor, which the next floor is the penthouse. This is actually where you would unlock with the penthouse key, which if you notice has loyalty X, which is funny since it's, that's weird. That shouldn't be locked. Let me go back down to the lobby and we'll check why that's locked. Because I don't quite want to just break it. Maybe it's because I put the key through again, but that doesn't make sense. Security desk. We're just gonna pop down here. And then it should be, where is it? No, that's the main doors. So that's the main entrance, classrooms, gold one. Gold one's on. That's weird. Here, since we're down here anyways, I'll reset. So this is the tower lockdown. That kind of tells me the tower security system is engaged. And then as you would enter the key cards, so the key card that the Withers Skelly had would give you level 1 access. Then the student ID or teacher ID would give you level 2. Level 3 would be the employee ID. And then the penthouse key, which let's just see if it works. Because why not? We have the penthouse key in our inventory right now. If we toss this into the ID in, should... yeah. Tower access master level. So that tells you who exactly is living in the penthouse. It is the master of this tower. And that is, of course, Technobabble. Or, in this case, to Neum. Because they live together. They love each other. Or they did. If we go back up to floor 3, it should work now, I think. Which side was it on? There is only one door. Oh, behind me. Okay, so that's just broken. That's a shame, but I'll just pop this open for now. Can I? Yeah, we'll just force it open. It stays open forever now. So this is Technobabble's apartment. Well, his penthouse. So you've got big cozy couch. It's very, very techie vibes. Got a guest room there. Oh, I should probably just show you what's behind this door too, so no one's sitting there curious. It's just bathroom. His actually also has these doors, which these doors can only be opened if you have the penthouse key in your inventory. That's a way of unlocking it for any flyers, because we have multiple mob or am I back? I'm a bit worried now that my thing might be dead. Okay. Did you guys miss much, or was it just walking into this room that it died? I don't know why that happened. Walking in? Okay. So yeah, it was just saying how cool this bed was and that it was chisels and bits. And then you've got bathroom here. Yes, I will hydrate. There we go. Check that off. And then the other interesting room over here is this one here. This is Technobabble's workshop, essentially, or that's what it's supposed to be, where it's got this terminal that doesn't quite work. Okay, if it dies one more time, I might have to swap to my other mic. I'm wondering if it's because I turned my computer off last night, so my mic didn't charge properly. Which sucks, but we'll figure it out. And then also let me quickly do some moderation in chat. There we go. Luckily that was caught by automod, so it didn't even go into chat. But yeah, I was saying that this was made for a dungeon to be beneath Protect Tower. So we just made the entrance room to show that there was something else here, but that it wasn't actually accessible yet. That's why everything is like glowing red. We were supposed to do something else somewhere else. Okay, how do I sound? Is this alright? I seem to be peaking a lot. It somehow got reset again. Okay. Fixed that. Definitely need to turn the thing down. I think that's fine. Okay. It is bad mic quality, but we're just gonna have to deal with it. Let me know if I need to turn it down more. So as I was saying about this, since the dungeon was going to be such a massive project, it just was not feasible to get it done on top of the spawn build before we started Season 2. So we just decided to do the entrance to it and leave the actual build for it later. And the act of delaying even just this part of it, and just how massive the project was, is actually one of the major reasons for why I decided that I couldn't do Season 2 anymore. Not in this way, at the very least. But before I go into that, I do want to show one more thing over here, which is just this little 4 command block setup is the thing that triggers the adventure mode setup. So that's all it took. Well, I say that's all it took, but if I go game mode creative, and then we look at this, these are fairly long commands. Fairly long, fairly in-depth commands for how the frick this works. If I go game mode spectator, go up here, creative, and then do tag, key to cat, remove, bypass. So I now no longer have the tag that allows me to not get hit by that. If I step into here, I am instantly stuck into adventure mode. I cannot break anything. But then if I'm out here, it says I've left the tower, and I can start breaking stuff again. Tag key to cat, add, bypass. And then get back into creative, and we can fly up to the top of the tower. And hi, pal, how are you? Spellcraft. It does give witchcraft vibes of just how the frick does that work. Oh, right, I forgot that there was also up here. This is just roof access. So this is a way to call the elevator up and get it to come to you. But if you notice, on this side, there's a ladder, suggesting that there's something more up there. And if you go up here, there is a waystone. This is one of the nice things that we have in our mod pack that lets you teleport between different locations. So since we needed one at spawn anyways, I figured on top of Protect Tower was the best place for it, since that gives you access to the entire area. And that's also why you can call the elevator from the roof, because you kind of need to if you're doing that. Yeah, so that's more or less all of the builds here. So let's find a good place to kind of sit and have a backdrop, and we can talk what went wrong. Because we've shown a lot about what went right. We've got a lot of cool builds. It took a literal year to build this up, but it's a lot of cool builds. So then let's do a place there, and then if I scoot there? No, that's not the best place. Let's go back to where we started then. That was a pretty good spot. In front of Connie Sequential's house. I think about there was where I had it. There we go. And then let me do one more tweak, because my tracking is actually a little bit messed up at the moment because it actually uses the mic that's currently dead. What is weird, Tanny? There we go. That should fix my tracking a little bit. Me being in the middle? Yeah, it's not often that I end up in the middle of the screen. But I feel for, like, heavy conversation ones like this, it's probably a good idea, so that you guys can kind of see my reactions a little bit better. Because, as I mentioned before, this project as a whole, all the seasons, have essentially encompassed my whole streaming career, more or less. Because the first streams I did, I believe, were the player species ones where I was, like, working on flight and stuff. And those were back when I was wearing the red coat and everything that, like, most people probably aren't even aware of. So, having to put an end to this was kind of, not even kind of, it was a really hard decision to make. It took months of me sitting there thinking about every time I wanted to say I'm done with this and come to that decision. And I really have, like, I don't think I can blame anyone else for how this went, since this whole thing started with Net and me. And it started as just a server that I was playing around with my boyfriend and some of his friends, that we then, as they lost interest, as my boyfriend's friends lost interest and kind of people stopped hanging out with it much, Net and I realized that we could turn it into something that was more content creator focused, more roleplay heavy, kind of what we wanted it to be. So that's how we got inspired to go for making a mod pack and going that route. And it was a lot of fun. We learned a lot. But we learned a lot because of how much stuff broke. And how much that stuff broke me, because frickin' hell! I can't even tell you how many roadblocks, how many setbacks we hit. And that wasn't even just with the second season. Yeah. The first season too. The reason the first season ended in the way it did, with that kind of craziness that happened, was because the mod pack was falling apart around us. Like, season 1, we ended it when we were having crashes, when we were having multiple issues. We had to do a entity wipe to get rid of something that was crashing people on entry. And that entity wipe meant that Jeffrey, because we had Jeffrey as a actual, like, person you could talk to. It was a villager that, like, here, let me go actually fly over to the nearby village and show you what kind of creature Jeffrey became in the first season. Because he started as a piglin baby, but then when we found him, he was one of these guys. One of these where, if you go and say their name, can someone hold still long enough for me to catch your name so I could type it? Claudia. Okay, so if we say, hi Claudia, they should say hi back. I might need to have chat up. There we go. So, oh, hello there, I'm not really in the mood to chat right now. So it was that kind of thing of we could actually talk to Jeffrey and interact with him, which was super cool. But the fact that he was an entity meant that when we had to wipe the entities entirely, we had to wipe him. So, in terms of lore, he just went missing. We don't know what happened. He could have been abducted, we don't know. But that was just kind of one of the setbacks. That was one of the major setbacks of Season 1. That's why we had to move. Sorry, hang on. Jeffrey's hanging out with Cody now. That's a nice way of thinking about it. So Cody is supposedly somewhere beneath the tower. Yes, that's why Season 1 had to end how it did, in that kind of rushed format. And we weren't able to do everything we wanted to with it. But I think that's basically everyone's first project, is you learn, you grow. It's not going to be exactly how you envision it, but you're going to figure something out from it. And then Season 1.5, we used the someone else's mod pack that was basically just a vanilla plus with origins in it. And that one, we learned a little bit more. We figured out how to do some stuff in just vanilla Minecraft, essentially.
to make things that were beyond what just vanilla should be, using data packs and stuff. But we realized that it didn't have enough for us to tell the story that we wanted to. And we always had a hunch that was going to be the case, because even during Season 1.5, we were working on Season 2. Which means that Season 2 has been in production for more than a year. Because I'm counting the year as when Season 1.5 ended. And so with that, that meant that essentially vanilla Minecraft was not Haywen SMP style. We knew from the get-go that wasn't what we wanted. So that left us with making our own modpack again. And it has been a year since Season 1.5 has ended. And the most recent thing that we've discovered, and you guys probably saw this on our survival test streams, the modpack crashes fairly regularly. Like, we cannot figure it out. And it got to the point that it's one of those you have to just start taking out mods and figuring out by putting them slowly back together what's causing it. Now, the main problem with that is that since we had thought it was already mostly stable from all of our other tests that we had done, we had started building this world. So changing the mod pack at this point means that we would lose some of the blocks that this world was based off of. And that could lead to corruption of this world and more issues down the line. So, yes, some of these mods are not updated anymore as well. Some of these mods, because this is still on the version, what Minecraft version is this again? I'm blanking on it now. Does Modrinth tell me? We are on Quilt 1.20.1. So we are stuck on that mod pack, or on that version. Because some of the mods won't update beyond that. So we have essentially gotten boxed into a corner on what we can do development-wise on this. Because in order to fix our mod pack, we have to remove mods. Removing mods makes the world unstable, so we can't use the world. So that puts us back at frickin' round zero, essentially, of the best thing we could do is scrap it and restart it. But with that, with the idea of scrapping it and restarting it, I kind of had to take a step back and say, is this what I really want to do? Because I had noticed for some time now, like since the end of Season 1.5, I have had this itching feeling kind of at my back where what we've got isn't what I need it to be. This isn't my big, massive project that I've spent 4 years working on isn't right for me. Because, as you guys know, I am a very, very creative person. I am a self-proclaimed god of creation. I will set out on any project that catches my eye. And the problem with Haywen SMP is that this project is one that grew to a point that it started making its own demands, more or less. Because the player species that I first started out my streaming career with morphed into the Origins mod, and working on those. And then the Origins mod work that I had done, because I set out to create a custom origin for anyone who wanted to be something that we didn't already have. All of the origins that we showcased in Haywen SMP were made by me. But that means that if we want to add people to the server to fix our issue of a small player base that struggles to remain active or even just frickin' playing Repo or Among Us or something on a Sunday, that would mean that I would have to create origins for them. So it was getting to the point of the expectations I had set for myself were too much. I didn't have enough time to do the things I was actually inspired to do, and I was stuck trying to play catch up on a project that was falling apart and slipping through my fingers. And that is not a position I wish on anyone. It is entirely my own doing. It is because I could have said no, we're using pre-made origins, or I could have put limits on things. But with how I am, I'm going to go as deep as I can into something, and it's going to hurt me, and I'm gonna figure it out as I go. And I do have the support of Squee and Net, who are the two other admins currently. Nova, the admin that I mentioned before, did leave, as previously mentioned, after season 1.5. But I had their support, and their support is great, but 3 people is still not enough to develop a mod pack and as big of a project as we have. Especially since we had a sort of division of the project where Squee was the one who was in charge of keeping us motivated, more or less. He was the one to remind us why we were doing this project. But that can only go so far when the project is falling apart at the seams. And then Net was the one primarily leading the actual mod pack development. He's not a streamer. He's more into the video editing side and telling a story. And that's great. Except the season 1 Haywen SMP was his first time working on a mod pack at all. So our lead is learning as we go, learning is great. But in terms of making a project work, that's a bit of a struggle. So that kind of covers what the other 2 admins' roles were in this. As for what my roles were, I was doing origins, as I mentioned. I was lead on builds. I was writing the lore with Squee. Squee was helping out with that one too. And then I was also the one primarily funding the server. I was the one, we used Bisect hosting. I still recommend them. They are still great. But we used Bisect hosting. I was funding both the server we were streaming on and the dev server, because we were running 2 servers to try and get this as cleaned up as we could. And between... the other thing I was also doing was organizing the weekly meetings for both admin and the Monday meetings that we had for the core team. So juggling basically community management, lore, builds, and development on code for one project is an absolutely insane workload. Do not do that, please, I beg of you. Like, you can if you are super passionate about it, but there will come a time where that passion turns to poison. And I want to strongly caution and tell you, take breaks when you need it. Be better than me, please. Because it is what has mostly contributed to me realizing that this isn't sustainable. I can't do this. So that's why. Yeah, head to wall moment, definitely. That's why Haywen SMP is going on an indefinite hiatus. I will say that I'm not getting rid of Haywen as a name yet. But I don't know what it's going to turn into. I know Haywen the Conlang is still staying around. I'm definitely putting to work that dictionary that I'm working on. So I'm still going to be streaming. I'm still going to be doing things. I'm going to be working on more VR chat avatars and stuff in the future. Haywen's in a bit of a nebulous space at the moment for what it's going to turn into. But it's not disappearing yet. I'm still in talks with Squee and with Net for what we're turning this into. I know Victory is getting more involved as well in what we can do moving forward. So there may still be hope for some kind of Haywen Season 2. But I cannot tell you when that'll be, if at all, nor what it'll look like. That is still very much in the air, and that is going to be a conversation that the others will be starting without me, more or less. They will be figuring out what they want to do. I'll be figuring out what I want to do. So, that is more or less what's going on. And that is to say that yeah, no. Like, I will say, if Haywen Season 2 does happen at some point, there will be new members. Just based on the fact that the old core members that we had from Season 1 and Season 1.5 were already actively changing. Like, we were getting new and having members dropping all the time over the course of that thing. Or at least that's what it felt like. So, possible new members is almost guaranteed new members. I can't tell you who they are, because I can't tell you when it is, or what it is. But that is an accurate statement. And it is kind of a funny thing that this is the last stream before my debut of the new model on Tuesday. And it's a funny way of saying goodbye to this world, to Season 2 as I imagined it, and to this model. And to, more or less, what my streaming life has been like for the past 4 years. Because things are definitely going to change. Both how I look, what I'm streaming. Heck, they've already started to change with what I'm streaming since I'm doing more solo streams. But I'm hoping it's going to be for the better. It's going to be for the better. I'm going to make it for the better. I have learned a lot. I don't regret that I've done this. I don't regret that I've started Haywen SMP. I don't regret that Haywen SMP has ended the way it had to. Because it's a lot. And I'm a lot. But it's good. It'll be good. And I am half tempted to just swap over to the other model that I'll be using tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Tuesday. But luckily I don't have a button for it, so I can't yet. So it is ready to go. It will be there. You can already see it in the thumbnail for Tuesday. I am finally getting around to playing Portal on Tuesday. It has been a game that I have kept in my back pocket for, like, the entire time. It is what inspired my colors. So I had to play it at some point. Yes, I know you are, Tanny. I am used to it more at this point, too. But yes, I definitely appreciate all of your support. I definitely would not be in this same position without your guys' support. And I definitely recommend check out what the others from Haywen are doing too. I know Victory, Squee, Volky, and stuff, they're all still streaming stuff too. So, though I don't know how much I'll be collabing with them much in the coming months, I will be doing the occasional collab here and there. I know I'm, for now, doing, I plan on Thursday being played up with Squee and Volky. So they are not vanishing from my life nor my streams. But I just can't promise what things will look like entirely. Wait, you were going to comment about Portal and colors, but it seems like it would have been backwards. Yeah. Wait, what do you mean for now you're gone on stream? I'm confused. I don't know what you're talking about. You don't know either, okay. Yes, I did get my colors from Portal. I originally actually got my colors, basically what the story is. Hang on, if I swap to where you can view my thing. Hang on, swap to the side. So this Minecraft skin that you see me in is the Minecraft skin. Well, not this one specifically, but the head has been the same for, I don't know how many years, I just realized. Far longer than frickin' Haywen SMP has even been around. I have had this Minecraft skin since high school, type thing. So my VTuber model was actually inspired by my Minecraft skin. And it has evolved from that. And one of the funny things, actually, I've just realized, is my tails are wrong. These are not the correct tails. Because if you notice, these are both blue tails with orange stripes. That's not how my tails are. But it's a funny thing. So yeah, the colors were originally inspired by Portal, first used on my Minecraft skin, and then swapped over to my VTuber model. I used some colors but started with blue and orange and gray. Yeah. The original version of the skin, because I had originally used a public skin that was out there. It was in a gray dress as well. And then I ended up tweaking it a lot and changing the outfit a couple times over the years. So I've got different outfit ones. The one this one is actually wearing is the pod print dress, which was the, hang on, let me pull out the old model for a second. You get to see V4 for a second. It's this dress. I'm wearing the same dress. And I can definitely promise the next model has improved a lot from this one. Let me quickly swap back. There we go. Yep. that was the V4 model. Yeah, and then I've got the... Yeah. I'm very happy with that dress. It is still on my merch store. It is still on my Etsy. So I think one more thing that we should do before we end stream, because it is getting close to end stream time. Hang on, let me reposition. And then swap back to center. Is I should probably pull out the other outfits this one has, just to showcase them again. Because these will still be available for anyone who wants to shapeshift and demand I change into them. But you will not see me start stream as these again. So you've obviously got the whole sweater outfit that I have. Super cute and adorable. And then We've also got the other common one you see me in, the maid outfit. And this one has turned into my primary for House Flipper, so I'm going to have to work on making a new maid outfit for my next one. It's not done yet, so I will be starting with House Flipper not as a maid outfit. I'll be out of my uniform for a while, but it'll still be fun. And I do plan on eventually making the sweater, this one, on my next avatar too, because this design for an outfit is so cute. I want to turn it into merch. So eventually it is on my list to make the sweater, the socks, and well, the socks if I can. I don't know if I can make the socks and the shorts. Oh, why have I got sleepy? I don't want sleepy. We're more hype right now. Edible? Are you trying to say I'm edible? Do not eat the Tide Pod. And then you've got the cheerleader outfit. This one is more of an uncommon one for me to wear. I more wear it in VR chat than anything else. But this one is one that is on my Gumroad and my booth for a outfit for the chiffon base. So this one is quite fun. The pom-poms are very nice. I love them. I do want to make cheerleader again, but that one will probably be down the list because it's not as useful as, say, the maid outfit is. And then the other funny one is the child. This one I have found more use in just taking pictures of because it's cute. But this one actually came about on the Halloween stream with Noxuna and Kyrie and Squee, where we were doing the Playland Escape Room, which was a horror playroom themed escape room, where we were supposed to be children left behind at a play place by our parents on Halloween. So of course I had to make that look like I was actually the case. And it is still adorable. Yes, it was very fun. And then of course you have the April Fool's one that we did, where I swapped colors with Squee. This one was very silly. I remember I actually ended up making this one like literally day of or something. Like it was last minute decision to just swap colors, and luckily I was quick enough to do it. So we just had to swap the colors on his like option things. But yeah, so it's ears, tail, all swapped, but the outfit I didn't rush and change. Oh, did we actually meet on that day? I don't remember when the first stream you came in was. Ah, that's fair, that's fair. Yeah, that was when we first started talking about the frickin' Einkrad stream that we planned to do. So that was very fun. I have one more outfit, but I don't think I'm gonna showcase that one, because that one's my swimsuit. And I know Twitch doesn't like hips. I mean, I am tempted to just go over by the ocean and be like, look, I am dressed for the occasion. It's fine, Twitch, but that's playing with fire. That really is. I know I've showcased the swimsuit in several pictures that I posted to Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky. So there is images to go look at it if you want to go see me in a swimsuit. It exists. It's out there. just Twitch is not the place for it. Yeah. That is a no. I do think I have actually worn it on stream once before, but that was in a VR chat stream, and Twitch polices those less heavily, significantly less heavily. So that is a not now. And we've got very creepy music going. I think it's because I was talking about risking breaking TOS. But yeah, I think that covers just about everything. That was actually timed surprisingly well. I wasn't sure if going over everything would fill the full 3 hours, or if I'd end up over or under or whatnot. But surprisingly, that has fit like exactly the 3 hours, aside from like a couple extra minutes. So I think we're gonna call it here. I am super excited for where everything will go in the future, and I will be sure to keep people informed of things changing. I can't say how quickly I'll let you know if Haywen SMP starts developing something again, because I'll probably wait until it is like actually looking like it might succeed in getting something. I will take that as a compliment. Wait, DM? Oh, yes, organism. I will let you know when I'm going to... Okay, the timing on that was too funny. I'm going to have to clip that later. But yes, I am excited for future. Hang on, hydrate. 1, 2, there we go. Yes, I'm excited. One of the things that you guys can look forward to that I can tease, beyond just my debut for the new model and the 4-year stream anniversary on Tuesday, is that I do plan on working on VR chat avatars on stream again sometime soon. I don't have a date yet, but I do have a commission lined up, and I have gotten permission from them to stream the commission. So you will get to see me work on someone else's avatar. So that'll be very fun. You want to commission me too, 8-bit? Fair enough, fair enough. Feel free to reach out whenever you want, just so that we can talk about what you want and I can give you a better price estimate. Though my prices may shift over time. So we will see how that goes. So let's see who we want to go raid before we end stream. Let's go for someone we're familiar with. If there is someone, Oh! Oh, you want to make a VTuber model? Yeah. Definitely shoot me a message. There is the commission section of my Discord that you can reach out to. Though I also trust you enough that you can DM me. You specifically, this is not directed at everyone. This is only at 8-bit. But I think we will go and raid Victory, who is off streaming Fear and Hunger 2. So Victory, as mentioned, was one of the people who was supposed to join in Haywen SMP Season 2. They were not part of Seasons 1 or 1.5. They were the one that was already living in the world and has helped with some of the builds that I showed you today. So go show him some love, tell him how good he did on the builds, and I will see you guys next time. Tschüss, Mia!